Welcome back. We are continuing with the factors that led to industrial development in Germany. We have talked about some. Let's continue with that. So the next one, I think, is the sixth point is that the existence of good transport and communication network, roads and railways, and even waterways also provided that. This can also be applied to all of them. Look at how this thing is easy. Look at how this is easy. And they like bringing this in exam. Just put that one, you can apply to all of them across. So it makes you to be very, very comfortable, because when that area is tested, you have the point already. You understand? So very easy. So transport, this is also another one to put in essence that you can apply them to both. So you see, all these things is easy, and history to score A is very simple. Very, very simple to score A. And that is my wish, and that is my desire for you as students. So this ensures easy transportation of raw materials to factories, of course, roads, railway. They were basically used in transporting people and raw material to and from what? The industries or factories. Factories and also finished good from the industries to the market. Even finished good or making or finding their way easy to go or to be taken to the market because of the proper communication and proper good transport. So the next is existence of long period of political instability in Germany after unification. So that was taking place in 1871. So that long period under the leadership of Otto von Bismarck. This was one of the renowned leader in Germany. So the Ottoman Bismarck, which ensured the investors' security. Ottoman Bismarck, we will be also talking about it ahead. There's a lot to talk about him. And at this time, just know that he was the leader, he was in charge of what? He was in charge of ensuring the security in Germany by then. And that encouraged the investors to go to Germany to invest. Then the next, the availability of finance for industrial growth from the rich German citizens. There were some people who were rich who were giving loans to those who are engaging themselves in industries. And even US also. There were also some loans granted by the US in 1924, where the US engaged by giving them money to invest in industries. Then the Marshall Plan after 1945 was another source of finance. Marshall Plan, this was just a plan coming up to what? To reconstruct reconstruct the country after the Second World War. After the Germans realized that their country was destroyed by the Second World War, which ended in 1945. They sat down and tried to make a plan how they will reconstruct, how they will ensure that the industry, the factories, each and everything that was affected by the war, as far as properties is concerned, will be returned into place or will be restructured. So that plan also helped Germany to become as an industrial superpower. Then the next, the existence of what? Hardworking and enterprising people in Germany. So enterprising people, I want you to put in mind, I want to talk about the inventors. There are some people who came up with the inventor or machines. People who invented some of the machines. We have those people who are very serious when it comes to business. For example, you can talk about somebody known as Tyson, Tyson, you can see that on the screen, who promoted the development of industries in steel. The steel industry that developed was promoted by that person. Then there's somebody else known as Egels and Bostik, who made great contribution in the field of machinery. So they also made a very great. Then NB or note this, that German's industrialization was, however, interrupted during the Second World War, which was the last war period. So at the end of the World War, Germany was able to recover and progress in industrial development. So in certain period of this Second World War, the German industrial development was affected. And that takes us to something else to talk about, that factors which enable Germany to recover after World War II. What are the factors that made them to recover after they lost a lot in the war? One, West Germany still had a high population, which was important resource in terms of labor. So the West Germany, or Germany at the West, was still having what? Was still having high population, which was a good labor to them. Then there were also a high number of immigrants from European countries like Turkey and Italy. So other people from Italy, Turkey, they also went to Germany and really supported in terms of industry there, and they found themselves doing well as far as industry is concerned. The next factor that made industry develop after even that Second World War was that the US Marshall Plan. And you have talked about the Marshall Plan in the general factors that led to industrial development in Germany. So the US Marshall Plan ensured that the required finance was available to assist industries. Marshall Plan, this was just a plan to reconstruct the properties that had been lost during the Second World War in Germany. Then the next, Germany industries were not totally destroyed by the Second World War. So to some extent, our industry were not totally destroyed. The next one is that industrial unrest was not very common in Germany. So it was not common, the industrial unrest. It was, to some extent, it did not affect it in a sense that stopping the industrialization. And therefore, industrialization was not interrupted. To some extent, industry did not stop. Industry did not stop the operation because of the war. To some extent, that made the industrialization not be interrupted. Then the next, with the last factors that made industry to came into what? Into industrial power again after the Second World War, was that good leadership. We talk about good leadership, which accelerated the what? Accelerated the industrialization process. So, for example, between 1949 to 1955, Germany Chancellor Konrad Adenauer proved to be an able leader who encouraged industrial growth. So those are the factors that made industry to come into power again after that. Then the next is Japan. Japan is at the far east. It is in Asia. Japan is in Asia, is a country in Asia. So Japan also became into power as an industrial country. And let's look something about it before maybe the time cut us. So Japan is a nation that has achieved great deal in industrialization. That is true. Right now, if you look at all of those machines, Japan has really provided immense development in terms of industry. So let's look at the way back in the 18th century. Japan was faced with civil war. So it also said our economy was also infected by the what? The civil war. Later, she made contacts with the West, and that is just through the country, just the same country we're talking about. Then through which our leaders realized that industrialization could strengthen Japan as a nation. So great strides towards industrialization were made during the reign of Emperor Meiji from 1896. That is when Japan became a very strong industrial country. After that, Emperor was in charge of different kingdoms. So there is a difference between a king and an emperor. A king is in charge of kingdom. An emperor is in charge of different kingdom. So that means that each and every kings were answerable to him as the general leader to them. That's the difference. So that Emperor Meiji was one which stood up for Japan to do well in industry. So let's look at the factors that enabled Japan to emerge as industrial superpower or industrial country. So one, she had enterprising citizens. That is also something to be placed on all of them. She had here, we refer Japan as a mother country. That's why we talk about she. So she had enterprising citizens who are what, hardworking and determined. So these people were business-oriented people. So they are always ready to undertake risk in business. And then the national motto was just in time. So that also promoted industrialization. That was the motto you can see, just in time. So that made them in toes as far as business is concerned. This confirmed their what? Efficiency. So they were very speed, accuracy, and what? Efficiency. So you can see their motto. So enterprising is the basic. Then the next long period of what? Political stability, especially after the Second World War, was also promoted. So peace was there after that war, then etc. Then the next, the role played by the American is financing the industrialization process in Japan. So America also provided some of the loans and finance to help Japan fuel the industrial process in the country. I've just given you 3, and I'm giving an assignment. Go and check other factors that led to industrial development in Japan. I've given you 3 points. There are others like 5, 4. So you will ensure that you are in a good term as far as Japan is concerned. So that's all about it, and thank you so much. Have a great day.